Awesome Osborne Peninsula. Warrandyte Historical Society held its 49th AGM with a healthy attendance in the Warrandyte Neighbourhood House Hall. Following the formal proceedings, which saw David Canty returned as president, the gathering was treated to a talk by Wayne Rankin and Jenny Brown about the history of the Osborne Peninsula in North Warrandyte, and the collaboration between Wayne and Jenny to produce several books about the history, community and environment of a special part of Warrandyte. Jenny Brown provided this reflection on a very interesting afternoon.
As much as it was an honour for graphic artist Wayne Rankin and myself to deliver the speech at Warrandyte's Historical Society's recent annual general meeting, from our side of the lectern, it was just as intriguing to see so many residents who embody so much of the history of our town. In a place that holds its people as long as Warrandyte does, and where a majority of contributing locals now have white hair and character-etched faces, if you trigger their stories, you get fantastic first-hand accounts of connection with town pioneers and the bushy places they fought so hard to preserve. For the late August AGM, Wayne and I were invited to present about our Osborne Peninsula book, Out of the Mist, which outlines the uncannily rich story of our North Warrandyte neighbourhood. It was published last year to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the successful Peninsula Land Care Group. It was, in fact, a much expanded edition of a booklet we'd created 15 years previously to inform incoming newbies that there was a great deal to appreciate in our riverbound corner, where nature remains dominant and where we prioritise wandering wombats over concrete culverts. Our presentation looked at the people who've lived on the peninsula, such as the genuinely influential Osborne dynasty and the mercurial Russian artist Danilia Vasiliev, who in the 1940s taught at the Radical School on the Kurnong subdivision, and who influenced the Heidi modernists, including Sidney Nolan, to spend time at his eccentric rock-built home, Stonygrad. We depicted the notable range of houses in our 4 streets, authored by name architects, such as Robin Boyd and Alastair Knox, and how a big part of our built estate is the Bush School Muddies. Several are yet occupied by their owner-developers. John and Kerry Boyle are still in their pad and were in the audience. And Wayne Rankin told how damned heavy were the bridge timbers and buckets of binding mud he and wife Ruth hauled when building their Osborne Road house half a century ago. Our presentation concluded to polite applause, but what happened next was really interesting. Many attendees came forward with stories that marvellously embellished ours. One reckoned that Professor William Osborne, who brought his family to the peninsula in 1909, was such an incredible polymath he really deserves his own book. Among Osborne's dazzling life achievements was the founding of Melbourne's first Rotary Club. John Chapman, representing a 6th-generation presence on Pigeon Bank Ridge, told of hauling bush timbers off the family's acres to facilitate Danny Vasiliev adding a new room to Stonygrad. John further confessed to fanging his little Vauxhall motor across fruit grower Henry Frencham's precarious homemade timber bridge, the remains of which still cross Pigeon Bank Creek. His wife Maxine claimed even longer connection in being a descendant of the Low lineage that in the late 1880s were first to build a house on the peninsula. One of the book's stories outlines the decade-long conservation campaign that saved from developers 4.4 hectares of bush sited between the Kurnong and Cruises Road subdivisions. In a projected 1979 black and white photograph of a rally, then-campaigner Jan Davies, OAM, could point out participants such as painter Neil Douglas, the youthful Boyles, and her husband Dick, also in the audience. The presentation was like that, stacked with folk who continue to work for Warrandyte. It would be marvellous to think these legends are inspiring a new generation to take out the baton on behalf of our so special riverine place.
September 20 Bridge Celebration.
The Historical Society are throwing a birthday party for the Warrandyte Bridge. Head to Taffy's Ruins at Wongum Willem on Saturday, September 20 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. to mark a major milestone for this Warrandyte landmark. Warrandyte was once a gold mining township split by the Birrarung, and crossing the river was a challenge for locals. There had been a punt that enabled miners from the Caledonian Mine and residents to cross the river to the north side. The punt operated on the east side of the present bridge from 1856 to 1863. It was washed away in the 1863 floods. A smaller punt operated until the 1875 bridge was built. There were two attempts at building bridges. A wooden bridge built in 1861 was washed away when the river flooded. The 1863 bridge was also washed away in the disastrous December 1863 floods. In 1875, a new wooden bridge was constructed to a design by the government engineer Charles Rowand by Cockburn & Co., working under the supervision of Charles S. Wingrove, engineer of the Elthamshire Council. The bridge was built at a cost of £1,413. This replaced the previous wooden trestle bridge, which had been washed away by previous floods. The 1875 trestle bridge was built above the height of the last flood and survived the 1934 floods, even though the river covered the bridge. It was opened on September 20, 1875. In 1955, the narrow single-lane trestle bridge was replaced with a present concrete bridge. This was upgraded and widened in 2016 to facilitate egress from the north during bushfire.
Bev Hansen book launch.
Another of Warrandyte's living treasures, 83-year-old landscape designer Bev Hansen, is the subject of a new book to be launched on October 26 at the Neighbourhood House Hall at the Warrandyte Community Centre. Commissioned by the Warrandyte Community Association to honour one of the originators of Australia's naturalist garden design, Bev Hansen, Very Warrandyte, also considers the extraordinary impact Bev's practical advocacy has wrought on the township's softer than suburban appearance. The book is another by writer Jenny Brown and graphic artist Wayne Rankin, and the launch location is entirely apt as Bev designed the community centre's gardenscape. Tickets to the event are free, but bookings are essential. Visit trybooking.com/DFKGH.